Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. This is Vanessa Donaldson with Your Life Beyond the Military. And I have Sergio here today. We're talking about VA disability claims. And he is one of my clients. So rather than me just tell you how I helped a client, it's so much better when you hear it from their own voices, their own facial expressions. So I have Sergio joining us, and we're going to just go back and rehash where we started and where we are today. So hopefully we can bring some value to other people that are still in that process, still stuck in that VA claim process. So hopefully we can give you encouragement, inspiration, and hope today, right? So thank you for joining, Sergio. And just to get started, like how long have we been working together? We were looking at our notes right before we went live. So
Yeah. It looks like right about 3 months, almost exactly to the day. So about three
yeah,
months.
yep, that's what I checked too. And it seems longer because we go so deep so quickly with those DBQs and the back and forth communication. And I'm like, that's it, 3 months. And then I get that text. I just got a text from Sergio saying,
Mhm.
thank you, 100%. So I said, let's hop
Yeah.
on a call. So before we connected and someone had referred you to reservices, which, it's always helps to have a word of mouth when you just go blind Google searching. Not
hmm
so much. Vets are usually pretty skeptical, but you had a word of mouth, so you were pretty confident and ready to move forward and invest in yourself. But what was it feeling like before you actually took that step and made the payment to work with Vanessa, Reset with Vanessa, and with Remedical? Where were you in your journey with the VA claim process?
Yeah, no, it was definitely an uphill battle. We unfortunately don't have a whole lot of clarity when it comes to trying to navigate through the whole process. And, myself and a few other veterans and stuff, we're kind of on the crappy end of the stick sometimes because we try to get the help that we need and we get rejected for different reasons. And I had a couple incidents with the VA where they said, "Hey, this isn't service related," and certain things. And it's like, well, where do you go from there? You feel beat, and as the issues are starting to compile and add up, and you're starting to run out of options. Well, it gets scary. So, I got a young family that depends on me, and well, it just so happened that Vanessa reached out and at the perfect time. It's almost like a godsend or something from just reaching out at the right exact moment and says, "Hey, you still want to go through with this?" And it was a immediate yes. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the divine intervention side. And you were open and like coachable and welcome to receive because you might have seen that same email, you know, another time and it glazed right over it, put it in the trash. Other vets go through that too. But for whatever state you were in, you were open. It was like a highlighted, that happens sometimes. You see something online between all the junk and it's just highlights and sticks out for you, right? And you're like,
Mhm.
all right, I'm calling this woman back. I'm going to see what this is about. So good job for you for doing that. And so I like how you really reframe what it was like at first, just the frustration, getting denied over and over, and just feeling stuck and lost. And like you say, you have a family that's depending on you. You're like running out of options. What's next? So once we connected and we saw that you did have some service connected disabilities that we could work with, that's always the first step. And we do have to turn some people away. We're not just going to be taking vets money and saying sorry. So we want to make sure your success rate, we've got what, over 90% success rate with Remedical. So once I saw, I gave you some pre-exam little things to test, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's such a candidate. Like we have to make this happen for him. So what did it feel like after you got the guidance and a little more hand-holding and stuff from myself and Remedical? What was that experience like?
Oh, it was night and day to trying to do it by myself. It was, the whole process. I know that the VA tries to make it as intuitive as possible, but it is like going through a maze sometimes because it's either you do this or you don't do this, and each one of them has like a consequence, whether it's positive or negative. Well, that's kind of tricky there, but with yourself and Remedical making it stuff essentially a whole, they're holding my hand through the whole process. And it was, I don't want to say it was painless because it's still scary, but definitely easier once you know what to expect.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a painful part of it because you're going to be rehashing things of the past to build this file. I tell people it's like root canal. None of us want to raise our hand and sign up for that dental appointment and go get your tooth drilled in and say, yay, this is so exciting, root canal. So I
hmm
equate, maybe because I used to work in a dental office, I equate that, going through the VA claim is kind of like dental work, that you're just putting it off, you're ignoring it, and it's going to be painful at first, but it needs to be done to get that tooth healed or
Hmm.
your life in order and healed on the other side. So you have to step into that root canal surgery room, and when those questions get so deep and like, tell us about this example and explain that, like, oh my gosh, vets don't want to rehash the past. I just helped a guy yesterday and he was working on it for like a whole weekend and was just like, that was so hard to go back. He had to
Hmm.
recycle all his stories again. And not that's not the easy part. But once that gets done and gets all put together and we have quality control and everything looks
Hmm.
good to go for your provider appointment, then it's a little more uphill. But there is that little valley where you're filling out that paperwork going, oh my gosh, here we go again. Especially if you've tried to fill stuff out like that before and you're like, here we go again. But we have
Hmm.
different techniques, right? Different strategies. So the questions that we were asking were maybe answered differently than you did in the past. And that's what working with a private company does. So Sergio, who would you think is the best fit to work with me and Remedical? What do you think
Yeah,
of
no,
people?
if I'd had to say somebody, it'd be any kind of veteran that is frustrated with the system and they know that they need and require the help. So if there's a lot of us that fail to ask for it because we don't want to deal with the problems of having to deal with the bureaucracy of the system. So, um, I mean, first and foremost, you got to be willing to be coached. So don't get too frustrated with that and stuff. But if you feel like you need to do this, then reach out.
That's great. Yeah, and use that word coach again. That's really part of it. It takes two people. I've got some vets just sitting in the file still. They were all ready to go, but they haven't given me the paperwork. I've maybe researched a little for them, letting them know, hey, we have a projected rating for you, but life is busy. There's death in the family. People are moving, so it gets hectic. But when you put that to forefront priority, results can happen, and you're living testimony of that. So,
Yes, ma'am.
what would you say is the best thing with working with me?
The hold handing. We in the Marine Corps we got this thing called Barney style, and it's like, hey, you got to do it stuff in very simplistic terms, and first you got to do this and you got to do that, and every time I had a question about something that just didn't understand, well, I reached out via text message or an email and stuff, and the responses were always prompt, which I really appreciated because sometimes you're elbow deep and trying to type something up or fill something up or you don't know what forms. And it's like, hey, you know what? Let me look at it. Let me look at it and stuff. Let me revise it and stuff, and then we'll figure out something to go from there.
Hmm. I love it. So Barney style. I know I'm married to a Marine. We don't use that much, but I might have to change my coach name one day to Barney style coach, at least if I'm working with the Marines, so they'll know what that means.
Yeah.
So what would you tell someone that's sitting on the fence? Because there's that financial commitment. And so what do you tell those people that are like, nope, I'm not paying for it. I'm just going to go to my local VSO or the DAB down the road or American Legion. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, no, that's a question that I kind of pondered myself. The VA says that there's all kinds of help, but unfortunately, there's more veterans that need help that don't have the means to be able to pay for it, and well, they're gonna cloud that pipeline. And I don't want to use cloud and stuff in a negative term because there are people out there that aren't able to financially do it. So sometimes when things just kind of line up exactly to how things are supposed to line up, well, you might find yourself in a situation where you can put things on credit or have a little bit extra money that you've been saving up. It is definitely worth it to have access to somebody that's going to be able to walk you through it. And working with the American Legion myself at some point in the past and seeing how much longer the process is going to take, it gets frustrating. And talking to veterans that have been doing it for a couple years, trying to just get an answer to a very simple question, well, most of them just turn away and accept it. It's like, hey, I don't think I'm going to get the help. And unfortunately, those are the same veterans that should seek out the help.
Hmm.
So if you're on the fence, just take a real close look at, what is it worth, and stuff like try to understand that it's not just for you; it's for the people that depend on you. So.
Mm. Yes, well said. Not just for you, but your whole family. There's a whole other side to just the veteran, all the back end. I call it the back end battlefield. You guys were the front end battlefield, my little book collaboration I did, and we were the back end battlefield. So it's a much bigger picture. It goes into in-laws as well. And when you're just doing that all on your own And I understand some people, like you said, they just don't have the financial means. And I have done complimentary audits for people like that too. I just want to help them at least see what their projected rating is. Some people are like, oh, dude, you don't have anything on here. You need to do an initial claim or something else. But for people that do have it, sometimes, yeah, I'll say if you can't afford it, I will refer them to the local VSO down the road. Some have gone to a local, DAV as well, but I've received clients back saying it's taking too long. Just what you said, it's taking too long. No one has the answers for me. I'm just gonna invest in myself and move forward with this right now. So yeah. So thank you so much for that. And I guess, yeah, I guess the only other thing I would add too, which I haven't mentioned in other recordings, but that 100% rating, it comes with all kinds of benefits vets don't even really tap into. They just want to kind of get that financial element, 3,700 plus dollars in that bank account every month for the rest of your life, non-taxable, right? Earmarked for you. But you also get, I think, with every state, your own free fishing and hunting license. As soon as we got our license and went to the DMV in Florida, my husband left with his fishing and hunting license with his, he's like, well, that is great. You get 50% off at state parks anywhere in your state. And when you're traveling nationwide, like we do the van life nationwide, we look for national parks because we can go 50% off in there. So why pay full price when you can pay 50% off? And the list goes on. So there's all these different benefits. Education, we've got a 23-year-old going to tech school now. Daughter used the GI Bill already, but I don't think this chapter 35 would have been available without my husband being where he is now with his rating. So many more things to look into and to tap into now that you're at 100. So congratulations for investing in yourself. I'm so excited. See that smile on your face. Go out there and tell your buddies, your comrades. You did mention something before we went live, which is important too. And there is that element which vets probably don't talk about much. So the survivor guilt you had mentioned, I think that's important to tap into because yeah, you're feeling like, okay, now you're taken care of, but what about all those guys that haven't done their claims, all those guys that lost their lives? You know, how are you gonna balance that survivor's guilt for yourself?
Mhm. That's a great question, and it's one stuff I'm still trying to discover. But at the very minimum, I think trying to get help for those that still need it. Whether it's through a referral or trying to help them, just be an encouragement of some kind. Well, something I'll do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what you do. You start with where you're at and you're open and receptive to people in your own community. We can't help everybody at once, but we can help the next vet that's standing right in front of us that's in a similar situation. We can have that empathy. We've been through the process. You've been through it. I went through it with my husband like 7, 8 years ago. And that was after 5 years of the wife nagging him. Can we do this? Can we like work on your disability rate? Something's off here. You were in an ID explosion. 60% is not right. So it takes time. I have some spouses still, they're ready to call me and get going, but their vet is still resistant and it happens. It's a skeptical bunch of people. So, but do what you can in your community and yeah, refer people, help them. And one by one, at least, if you can help one person around you, that's already helping with your survivor's guilt and helping to turn it into a positive. So good job for you again. Thank you for your service. Thank you for trusting me with your money, your time, your energy, all that, and look forward to being able to get some referrals from you as you're talking to buddies and passing this on so we can impact more people together. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Sergio.
Thank you so much.